Hello everybody, Adam here. Today I'm going to be talking about and reacting to the Word Alive's new song Monomania. I actually did like a full-blown video with the band playing in it and everything, but for some reason I kept on getting copyright blocked by YouTube, despite the fact that when you type in Monomania reaction in the YouTube search bar and you scroll through, there's tons of other people using the audio, so I don't know why I got copyright blocked, but I did. But I still gave my thoughts about the mix and everything. So make sure you check out the original video, and then you can check out my thoughts and see what I thought about it. That was a very cool song. So, I'm not familiar with the Word Alive's old material as much, so I don't know if there are as many pop and synth elements as there are in this in particular song. I gotta say, without these synths, this song would have been incredibly boring, at least in my opinion. It would have been like a solid metalcore song or maybe like a solid rock song, but the synths really built dynamics, and they really, I feel like, emphasized the mood of the song. It was, in my opinion, a great production choice to add all this synth in there. And then the Word Alive really came out during that breakdown. It was made so much better by the ambient piano. So they had just a piano playing just singular notes, but it was on a huge reverb. So it just made these singular piano notes just so wide in the stereo image. I love that type of stuff. I am a huge believer in metal music that tactfully uses synthesizers. Like this, none of those synths sounded like a human played them. It all sounded MIDI to me. It didn't sound like any human instrumentation was really done. But it fit the song perfectly well. If you are a metal artist and you're thinking about adding synth work or MIDI work into your music, I definitely would look at this song as a cool way of integrating MIDI into the production of the song and how that makes the song feel and how it makes it flow and groove throughout the whole song. I kept on thinking it throughout the whole song, but I wanted to mention it now. The drum tone was very interesting to me, especially the snare drum. So usually in this genre of music, especially metalcore, you get these really tight, hard snare hits that are really cranked up at say 3,000 to 5,000 hertz. So they really have this huge cutting effect in the mix. This drum set didn't really sound like it was EQ'd that way. I like the, how do I explain it? The thuddiness of the snare. It didn't really need to cut as much, and I'm happy that they did it that way, because if you listen to the whole song, there are so many. I kept on saying that the song is complicated mixing wise. There are so many things happening at each level of the mix. So for instance, there's a lot of bass happening, especially in the male tenor range. In metal, generally, that's just a clustered area between 3,000 to 6,000 hertz. That's where your kick drum slap is. That's where your snare drum is. That's where your male vocal is going to fit. That's where a lot of your high screaming is going to happen. And then, of course, you have all the overtones from all the other bassier instruments also going up into that register as well, that are also that could also possibly be amplified by the master. I was just generally impressed with the song. That was my first time listening to it. It was just polished. It was a good polished metal song, and I think that's the way metal has been progressing, especially in metalcore. I feel like you need to have a very polished metalcore mix if you're wanting to be serious in the metalcore genre, and not unless you're trying to go for a really old Asking Alexandria type of vibe, but even so, even their stuff was really polished for when it came out. I want to talk about the vocals and how they sat. I was really intrigued at the very beginning of the song that the vocals were not dead center immediately. Generally, unless you're going for like some like really cool like screaming effect where you want the vocals to be really wide, or shouting where you want the vocals really wide in the left and right ear. Generally, the vocals stayed pretty much in the dead center at 0 for panning the entire time. I really liked how they integrated his wet voice and his dry voice into the left ear and right ear for this like really cool effect. And then when the song came in at the same time for the intro, his voice went straight back into the middle. That's how I knew as an audio engineer that the song was going to pick up. It was because his vocals moved from left ear to right ear, a lot of reverb, a lot of delay, a lot of effects are just on this voice. And then they go from here into a dry center voice. So I thought that was a really cool production trick that they did. And it helps you as a listener anticipate what's about to happen next. Like I said, overall, good song. I'll definitely be checking out more of The Word Alive in the future if their productions are this polished. I thought this sounded amazing. Alrighty, well, thank you for watching. If you're liking my content, make sure you hit the like button on the video, make sure you hit the sub button and the bell button. I do have a Patreon page. It is the top link in my description. I have a couple cool like super subscriber perks. If you're a songwriter or if you are an electric guitar player, then you might have some cool things down there. So check it out, see if there's anything of interest to you, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye bye.